In 2021, rapper DaBaby made a series of ugly, homophobic, and misogynist remarks at a concert. And he also spread misinformation about HIV and AIDS. His remarks were so awful and so damaging that Elton John condemned him. DaBaby shot and killed a man, saying that he did so in self-defense. He assaulted a woman fan, prior to a concert, many among problematic accusations. The USA Today put out this article, I'll say about 3 days ago. Now, when I read this article, I looked at this article, I'm like, oh, this is another hater, talking about Deion Sanders. But after I read it, I had to sit down and realize this is not a hater trying to shove Deion Sanders under the bus for any reason. This is actually, to me, legitimate. A legitimate problem that should be addressed. And you kind of, make yourself wonder why this is happening. Why is it that Deion Sanders decided to bring a guy that has a problematic past, and what he's been doing and the things that he's accused of doing? You're trying to figure out why he does that. For one thing, Deion Sanders is like, well, we know that he has history, and we know that he has bounced back. But the better question is, has he really stepped back? I mean, has he really bounced back from his issues that he is dealing with? You don't know if this man is even, or let me say, DaBaby, you don't know if he's even, what's the word I'm looking for?
Believable.
No, not believable. I wanted to say revivable. There's actually a word for this. I want to say
Kind of like
treatable.
reconciled.
Treatable.
Treatable. Okay.
Yeah, treatable for some of the things that he has done. To go and spread hate, I wonder, like a man like Deion Sanders with that cross as a necklace that he got on, how do you live with yourself with the fact that you then just invited somebody to speak before the USC game with this cross on your chest as a necklace that has history of a man that spreaded hate, the guy that died for your sins that you have on the cross, would not condone that. Why him? I asked myself this question a million times, and the more I ask myself, the more I racked my brain.
All right.
Some things you just cannot fix. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out, what is the best way to put it. And it's just basically just flat out, it was wrong. It wasn't a good idea to do that. It wasn't a good idea to bring on somebody that spreaded hate, misinformation, and all of this to try to get your players back on focus. There are other ways to do it. You,
Yep.
as a man of God, could probably have done that way better than DaBaby did. Let's just be real about that. There are other ways to do it than to bring somebody like him on to talk about, his past and things like that. That, to me, just almost damn near contradict a lot of the things that and what you stand for. Now, it's
Just
one
can't make this
thing,
shit up.
right? Exactly. It's one thing to actually go and, defend black men, but it's another thing to condemn black men when they do wrong.
Right. Correct.
And he did wrong. You
Mm.
can't go and condemn, you can't go and defend somebody that has done wrong.
Right.
Because the man that died for your sins that you're wearing the cross on would not have condemned any of that.
No. No.
So how do you deal with that? How do you handle that? For me, my question is, how do you do that at the end of the day? I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get how he does that. What is your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. When you brought this to my attention, I had to start thinking about reasons why he did this. I really had to start thinking about reasons. And I came up with a couple of them. The first one I thought about was he's not trying to pass judgment. That's the first thing I thought about.
Okay.
The second thing I thought about, hold on. Second thing I thought about was that not only he wasn't trying to be judgmental, but he felt like that DaBaby can spread some wisdom.
Ugh.
Now, both of these reasons to me were irreplaceable. It was something that I really couldn't stand on my 2 feet on to like kind of like defend this. And the problem that I'm having with this is that you a man of God yourself, like you said, you're wearing a cross pendant on your chest and you're sitting here and you're bringing somebody in that pretty much has a Pat Robinson personality in that case.
Lord have mercy.
But there's some differences. But you bring a guy that do kind of like have a Pat Robinson personality to the fact that, there's some hate in there.
Mm-hmm.
People that loves people are going to love people. People don't love people to hate other people.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to tolerate people that hates people.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's all about bringing peace at the end of the day.
Right.
That's just probable cause at the end of the day. That's where we're standing at right now. And despite him and what he did, I had questions myself when I seen that he brought Brittany Renner on to the locker room to kind of give a warning. And my question to that was, what the fuck warning she's going to give? She's going to do whatever she wants. So what she's telling the guys in the locker room may not match up to her potential at the end of the day when she's done talking to these guys. I feel like personally he should have done, like you said, he should have done a better job of recruiting people to the locker room and replacing those two, in my personal opinion, with Shannon Sharp and had another one in mind. Maybe Tony Dungy. He did bring The Rock in. He brought his mom in. Those were good choices. But DaBaby, it just didn't sit right with me. And for you to pass on, for a guy that you thought probably could have learned this lesson, it's to me, you just have to kind of look in the mirror and do better.
It's one thing to, it's one thing to see DaBaby make some sort of change in his life as some sort of, not so hateful comments.
Mhm.
It's one thing to see that, but it's another thing to actually do it, show it, and don't even look like you're apologizing for it, but yet still sticking to it. And then you are being brought on to talk to college men that are out there playing football. To me, I find that a problem. I really do. It's not like that he's really trying to change, in an aspect of, what he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going and having this guy speak, not knowing, or no, excuse me, not knowing that you are a man of God, and to think that he is spreading wisdom is beyond me, Daryl. With your reasoning, it's just beyond me, because I'm like, you went from, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson all the way down to DaBaby, and that is like, what?
Right.
You can I believe you can do better than that. Make a change first. Show
Right.
that, this is not about hate. Show that this is not about, you know, these homophobic comments that you keep making and misinformation about AIDS and HIV and hating on, homophobic people. It's one thing when not homophobic, homosexuals. It's you have to you like you said, you have to love people. And for me, he don't even love people. Now, what if he was talking to a homosexual in that locker room?
Right.
What
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 kind of what kind of offense would that would have been taken on that?
and you know that with Deion Sanders being a man of God, you can automatically assume that he's not going to believe in homosexuality himself. But then you have to really think about that. Do you really love him or do you hate him?
Right.
These things you have to think about.
Yeah. But
And
I
that's
kind
why
of
I
feel
think it's
like
far more aware to bring attention to him.
right. Right. But I kind of feel at the same time that them guys do got their heads right.
Yeah.
So even if Deion Sanders did bring in DaBaby, I think that they would be smart enough to understand the difference between, love and hate and right and left and love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I happen to see, and I mentioned this to you before, I happen to see that Travis Hunter, met up with Henry Blackburn, the same guy that, hit him, excuse me, hit him in the chest during uh the CSU game. And he wasn't very apologetic about it. Well, Henry Blackburn, he wasn't very apologetic about it, but Travis Hunter did bring him and brought him to the skating rink, not the skating rink, the bowling ring, and all of that, and they kicked it, and they had learned to forgive each other, and he's a white guy, so the whole point of that is that hey, these guys could be, in the right direction, regardless to what, Deion Sanders does or anything like that. And they could have the belief like, hey, this is just a bunch of bull junk. You know, what you're doing is that we may not understand it, but for me, in that aspect, I know that we can't really go and discriminate on anybody, regardless. We just shouldn't. And that hit on him, that could have damn near cost his life.
Yep.
But he chose to, forgive and love, not to hate and be holding a burden or a grudge. So, I think that it's important that, these circumstances you learn better, not for the worst.
It's gonna make me feel hypocritical.
Oh, Jesus, Darren.
Oh, no, no,
Oh,
no,
where
no.
you going with this?
Nowhere. I'm not going anywhere with this. I'm just gonna say that I'm not that yeah, let's just clear the line. This is really the end of it. I'm just wrapping it up because I'm about to go ahead
Uh,
and say this. It's
okay.
gonna make me feel hypocritical to sit here and talk about this issue, but then next week I'm gonna have another
Oh, yeah.
segment on Deion Sanders, so that's gonna bring up a whole new type, a
Yeah,
whole
that's
new
gonna be.
type
Oh
of a
man.
conversation. So that's why I'm kind of like I'm saying it now because I want to be able to, save my ass type of card, and say,
Right.
hey,
Right.
look, this is gonna make me look hypocritical because I'm talking about him and his questionable decisions, but then turn right around and praise him at the same time for next week's Darren's notes. But that's all I have. Anything else you want to add?
Now that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for watching. You can catch our YouTube content right on this channel here. Um, at Double Take Sports Talk, and you can catch our gaming content. What is the YouTube handle? At
At the
what
Watch
is it? At the
Brothers.
Watch Brothers. Thank you so much. At the Watch
Well, let
Brothers.
me do it better. At the Watch Brothers. Yes. Thank you. At the Watch Brothers. I couldn't help that. I couldn't help that when I had to say it.
Yeah. So you can check out the gaming content there. You can also check out our Instagram and Twitter as well. I believe the Instagram is at the Watch Brothers as well, and Twitter is at DTST2414,
Mhm.
X anyway. So, but thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.